Well, hey there. Gotta be honest with you. Today, I didn't expect to be doing a little bit of walking when I talk to you. And I won't keep you long because last night I put the wraps on a little bit of a video which basically just kind of shows you the tools that I use to book vacations in Central Florida and how I do all my searches and things like that, how I find the best deals, you know, the whole process that I've been going through this entire week, which kind of shows you how I'm able to take multiple Central Florida trips every year, therefore justifying financially the annual pass level that I buy, which is the Incredipass. All right, so right here, I'm going to cut that footage in. But before I do, let me just say thank you so much for joining me, whether you're on your couch, on the TV, on the computer, on your phone, on your tablet, game system. However, thank you. I appreciate it. I really do. All right, here's the footage. Check it out. All right, the first thing that we're going to have to do is look up Google Flights. Now we're going to set, you see by default it has State College for me, but we're going to teach you this is how you set multiple airports in your area. It's where it says where else, you can start typing and it'll come up with the suggestion, and then you just click on it and you keep clicking the airports that you want. You enter them in, it'll give you a suggestion. You keep clicking on them until it gets them all loaded in that you want. There is a limit, and I take it right to the limit every time when I do these searches. You'll see that here in a minute. And here you can enter in multiple airports as well, but I'm just going to use Orlando International, MCO, as the airport for my destination. Then you can just enter in your departure dates. But notice on this, you can see the prices, the projected prices, at least for that particular day. You can see how much a round-trip flight's going to be by clicking on that. Click on one of your dates and then look out to when you desire to come back, and it'll tell you the cheapest rate. That is a round-trip price right there. And again, you can mess around with dates, play around with dates until you find the right flight, the right price. And so when you go out to March and April, you can start to see it. By default, it'll give you a 7-day trip. So I turned it back to 5 right here because that changes your price for whatever reason within the airline system. But you can see in April, there's some flights that are in the $56 range. Now that'll change when you click on them because it'll give you who knows what date after you initially go to click on it. But also some of the more expensive ones for the round trip flight, depending on when you come back, that can give you a way cheaper rate. This is how you can game out your vacation, your flights, regardless of where you're leaving or heading to, this is a good way to get that price. Now, after you have your dates in, you can do a search and it'll give you a wide range of options. It'll give you the best options, which you see are maybe a little more expensive, and it'll give you the cheapest options, which sometimes the cheapest options will be multiple stops or something like that. But you can see in this particular example, this is Frontier at the top. Further down, more Frontier. And it's from Philadelphia to MCO, but there are other options. There's some Pittsburgh in there. There's Latrobe. But if you need to change your dates, you just go back into the tool again and start playing around with the dates. You can set up for one way. You can check prices for that. And you can check prices for round trip and just play around with the dates. You can even change any of your airports by clicking back up there in that field where we entered and took out the airports. And you can see when you get further out in June, July, August, the prices are pretty high right now, and that's because we're not in that kind of golden range where prices start to come down. So if you book that far out, you're going to get a high rate. Look at these rates that are on there right now. $56 for a round trip flight. That's absolutely crazy. And the reason why you can find that is because you're within that golden window. Now we're going to look at LAX. What if we wanted to fly out to LA from one of these airports and we were using this range? And by the way, not all airlines are in Google Flights, and we're going to see that in just a minute. So I entered LAX and John Wayne. And you can see on my dates, the prices are a little elevated. They're definitely way higher than they were last year at this time. But I have a feeling at the beginning of June, some of these prices are going to really come down for flights for the Northeast out to LA. They do every year. But you got to get in that 60 to 30. Well, it's not even 60. I think it's like 45 down to 30 day window to see what the prices are going to really be. You can see there's a round trip flight on Frontier for $144 to LAX. And I believe that's from BWI. Now we're going to look for Breeze Airways on the tool. You can see it's nowhere to be found. But that doesn't mean that there's not flights on those dates. If you can't find your specific airline on the tool, the best bet is to just go to their website and look up flights directly through them. So much like the Google tool, you can just kind of play around with whatever options you want to select and check your prices, flight availability, so on and so forth. And here, as with most airlines, they just give you your options. But up top of their particular website, you can breeze through dates and even click back on the calendar and check your options. Now let's look up rental cars and how to find prices out of the airport on these. You can see here after we completed our search that something seems a little off up top with the pricing. And that is because we did not filter down where we were getting the cars from. So even the off-airport shuttle agencies are included in this search. But we can easily fix that right here. Always select car on airport. And you should probably select quick pickup too, because that'll weed out some of the Toro sites, some of the other things. And you can see up top, at least with Expedia, and Priceline, they give you these little tools that explain the car sizes, the prices. Okay, now we're going to look up the Mears Connect, which is the airport shuttle. We're just looking at prices here. And you can see they offer the standard service and the express service, which is quite a bit more. But that puts you in a van. And now we're going to look up Ride Guru so that we can see what Lyft and Uber estimates are going to be from the airport to your resort. In this particular case, I used Animal Kingdom Lodge because as far as Disney hotels, that's probably one of the furthest ones out from the airport. And so here you can see they're trying to get your money to do some of these limo services. But if you look up in the overview in the corner, you can go and hover over the options in the corner, the different types of Lyft services, the different type of Uber services, and it gives you an estimate along with surge prices and things of that nature as far as what the prices will be from the airport. And this could help you figure out if you're going to use rideshare, which would be your better, cheaper option. So now we're going to go look at Disney World Resort hotels to see what the availability is and show you how we use their own website to browse what their availability looks like. And we're going to use Easter weekend as an example just to show you how they deal with surge prices on a holiday weekend. Now you may be wondering why I don't look at Universal for the same dates. The main reason, because their prices are going to be in a similar range. This is looking over a holiday weekend. Now we're going to look up prices and availability through one of the aggregate sites. In this particular example, we're going to look at hotels.com and see if we can find any of the Disney World inventory on there for these same dates and just see what the prices are, what the availability is. Oftentimes you'll find the inventory here, and occasionally it'll be cheaper, occasionally it'll have availability, whereas the Disney World system will not. If you want to look up hotels closest to or on property on hotels.com, best way to do is to look up the neighborhood. And the particular neighborhood where they're located at least on hotels.com, will be Lake Buena Vista, but also Bay Lake. And there it is. Disney's Pop Century has availability. Disney's All-Star Music, Saratoga Springs, Sports. Now, interestingly enough, that Saratoga Springs price was way less than what it is in Disney's inventory. And there's Old Key West, which I believe wasn't even listed as having inventory, but here it is on hotels.com. Now let's look and see if we can find confirmed reservations on a DVC rental site. DVC, of course, being the timeshare version of Disney resorts, and sometimes people book confirmed reservations to get rid of their points and then approach sites such as this. This happens to be the most reputable of all the sites, and I believe the oldest to offer confirmed reservations and rent points in order for you to book some of these resorts. And this particular month, there's not a lot of deals to be found at all. And the deals have gotten less and less and less over time. This series is over. That's the bow. We're putting a wrap on it. Cut. That's it. Now, next week, I get to go back to doing with you what I enjoy the most. I can really see how this is going to start to take shape before you know it. And eventually, all this mud and tore up ground is going to flourish with plants. This is just beautiful in the late spring and throughout the summer. Let me just say, for those of you that have hung with me throughout this series, I appreciate it. I really do. It's something I felt like I really wanted to do and needed to do. There's a lot of people throughout the years that have questions about how do you take trips like that? How do you do it so often? How do you justify an annual pass at that expense? And so I thought, all right, I'll kind of walk through it. It's not that detailed as I could be, but I feel like it's enough. So anyways, that's going to do it for today. And this week, celebrate. It's Friday. Did you make a difference in someone's life? Did you make them smile? Did you make someone happy? If not, it's always next week, right? We'll get them next week. For me, throughout this week, I hope I made you smile or made you think or gave you something to reflect on, or some sort of thing that you enjoyed. And if I didn't, I hope you hang with me for next week, because we're gonna be back to what I was doing before, having a little conversation with you, Remember, on Monday, it's Encouragement Day. On Tuesday, do something maybe more human interest related. Wednesday, history, some form of history. Thursday, I don't know, a reflection, a review, something like that. And on Friday, it's a celebration. All right, enjoy your weekend. Tomorrow, a POV video of my final ride on Dinosaur at Animal Kingdom, at Walt Disney's Animal Kingdom, Walt Disney World's Animal Kingdom. Yeah, it was a sad one. I knew it was my final ride, my final trip on Dinosaur. And the attraction is now closed permanently. I'll never see it again. And then on Sunday, it's still a little up in the air. I think I'm going to try and go to a few places to film for the America 250 vlog, and I think we're going to put the next one out on Sunday. I don't know for sure. If that doesn't work out, there will be another Walt Disney World vlog. Dreams, grass, churros. We will see you tomorrow with the dinosaur point of view, and Sunday, America 250 vlog, and then back for our discussions and walk and talk starting on Monday. See you then.